Let's take a look at what...
Oh, it's Halloween night, and we have a spectacular field for tonight's championship round of the PBA Indianapolis Open. Since 1979, the sport's top players have been coming to Woodland Bowl tonight. 8 players take aim at the Indianapolis Open title. Oh, good evening, everyone. I'm Phil Ferguson, along with my broadcast partner, Marshall Holman. And Marshall, for once, we've dressed alike.
Oh, I'm looking forward to a very exciting and scary top 8 tonight, Phil.
All right, it's the Indianapolis Open here at Woodland Bowl. And good evening, everyone. And we do have a tremendous finals field of 88 titles among 6 players, 2 non-champions. And, Marshall, we have a couple of players in the hunt for PBA Player of the Year honors.
Well, we do, and we're seeing Walter Ray Williams Jr. again. Every week we see him. But first, let's take a look at what Norm Duke has done this year. Norm Duke has won 3 titles. He has the most money, as you can see in our graphic. And Chris Barnes, now he hasn't had any titles this year, but he's leading in many statistical categories. So you got Barnes, you got Williams, who's won 2, second last week, looking to go all the way 4 games to win his 3rd title this year. It's going to be very interesting.
And I talked briefly about 2 non-champions. You have Eugene McCune and also the player on top. He's been there before, Jeff Zaffino.
Well, he has. And in fact, in 1996, Jeff Zaffino bowled for the title against Doug Kent, who will be in our first round match today. He has some experience that one time, but it's going to be difficult. A lot of great players today in the top 8, and for him to win that one game, well, he's going to have to really gut it out.
Let's take a look now at our outstanding championship round finals field of 8. Our tournament leader, his 2nd career telecast, looking for his first PBA victory, Jeff Zaffino. In the number 2 spot, former Player of the Year, 19 career titles, Norm Duke. Our 3rd seeded qualifier, 10th TV appearance of the year, former Rookie of the Year, Chris Barnes. Our 4th seed, 12 national titles, 4 regional championships, defending champion, Randy Pedersen. And in the 5th spot, holder of 20 titles, 1988 Player of the Year, Hall of Famer, Brian Voss. And in our opening 3-player shootout, qualifying in the number 6 position, looking for his first title and a trip next week to the Tournament of Champions, Eugene McCune. Our 7th seed, 3 career titles, Doug Kent. And our final qualifier, trying to make it 3 wins over the past 4 tournaments, Marshall, Walter Ray Williams Jr. And, Marshall, conditions really enabled the players to go outside a little bit this week.
Well, the conditions, the surface this week was wood with a Guardian coat to it. The lane was down to 37 feet to oil, and the pattern, we're going to call it an extra wide witch's hat. More oil in the center of the lane, allowing the players to get the ball down the lane and then break it hard into the pocket. A lot of back end.
All right. So let's see what's in the bag of the... Will it be tricks or treat tonight for the players? Because it is very difficult to advance all the way through the shootout matches and win a tournament, isn't it?
Well, it's very difficult, especially for a youngster like McCune. And leaves the bucket, the 2-4-5-8. Ball didn't get quite up to the head pin full enough.
You'll look now, Doug Kent, 33, out of Newark. And he has bowled awfully well the past couple of weeks, and really the entire fall tour. Very sturdy at the line.
And playing a different line than McCune. He's deeper in onto the lane. Watch how hard he throws this ball. McCune throws it harder than anybody I know for spares.
Walter Ray Williams Jr. His 4th appearance here, 4 tournaments in the fall. 41 out of Ocala, Florida.
And that's the problem that Walter had all through the last block of match play. He just hung on. In fact, the last few games, he did not score well at all. But he had enough. As you can see, the ball's going to come in light. Watch the 2nd pin to the right. That's a 6 pin. Lays in the channel. Doesn't get back to get the 10.
Yeah, he said he only won 2 out of 8 final matches. This morning picks up the 10 pin, and you know, Marshall, he told me he's just not bowling well, and it's amazing. Kind of like Tiger Woods, not playing well, still around the lead.
Yeah, Walter doesn't have his A game, and he's still here vying for a championship.
McCune now in the second frame after a spare. Boy, he throws it hard.
And what a terrible break. Comes in just a little high, leaves the 4 and the 10. Really not that bad a shot. He'll have trouble making this. He'll have to get to the ball, the left-hand side of that 4 pin, and slide it into the 10.
Kent, the only player so far with a strike. Not in the first frame. Up in the second. Back right there. Boy, I like his game.
Well, he's a solid player, and Kent playing deeper in on the lane. That's McCune, the split that he left. And he just overcuts it. It'll be 8 out for McCune. It's an open frame in the second frame, and very important for him to stay in the game mentally. Put it behind you.
Walter ran the table several times during his career. Of course, 32 national titles. His first title he won in Peoria. He won 4 matches. This is a little bit different with the 8-player format.
Yeah, that's it. Walter was not sure that ball was going to strike till the very last minute. He throws his arms up in the air right now going, well, will it? Yeah, it did.
3 players. Just one will move on into the second match, and Doug Kent with the double.
Yeah, Kent in command early in the match. 10 pins ahead of Walter Ray Williams Jr. and significantly ahead of Eugene McCune. Shots like that could get him right back in the match. It's still early. Take a look at the release. Look at the high backswing and then the power as he thrusts through at the bottom of the swing. Falls off a little bit to the right, but boy, I'll tell you, he's got a lot of great natural skills. Just needs to allow them to take him to the championship.
Flamethrower up the gutter. Boy, it was a lot on it. It's Doug Kent now up in the third.
Going slower. And another great executed shot from Doug Kent.
Now, this morning during match play, a lot of players outside. And now Kent has moved in a little bit. Walter not quite as far outside as he was this morning.
And a friendly kick of the 4 pin as Walter staying in touch with Doug Kent. That strike right there puts him 10 pins behind. Eugene McCune has a spare, an open, and a strike. Doug Kent's perfect. We'll be right back.
Well, Doug Kent, 3 strikes off to the early lead. 10 pins up on Walter Ray, 34 in front of McCune.
Now let's take a look at what's in the bag for McCune, and it's the, well, it's a Brunswick Monster. On the first and second frame, he used a shiny one. He switched to a dull one in the third. Still coming up light, and he just sometimes throws the ball too hard. And he did that in the first frame, then again in the fourth.
Doug Kent, 16, 17, and 1 on television. Nice average, 224. Up in the fourth frame, he has 3 in a row.
Now the half 10 for Kent. Ball went a little longer down the lane that time, Phil. Wasn't able to carry out the 10 pin. Here's McCune with his target zone. So he stays with the strike ball. He hooks at the spare. There are two ways you can shoot that spare. You can either use the strike line and hook into it, or you can go hard and straight with the spare ball.
Kent spares in the fourth. Now Walter Ray, after a spare in the first, has a double.
You know, I'm talking with him earlier today. I'd never heard Walter so negative, and yet still knows he has a chance. And there's a 4-9. The same lane that McCune left the 4-10 on. Well, you don't want to come in high on lane 72. You just don't get any breaks. All been about carry this week for Walter.
McCune up in the fifth. He has struggled so far. Spare, open, strike, spare. Looks like he slowed it down just a little bit.
It certainly did. Good observation, Phil. Had a good result. He needs to keep that same speed on the right-hand lane. They call him Deadeye. Oh, just overcuts it.
So an open, a rare open for Walter Ray Williams Jr.
just wants to cut this 4-pin into the 9, and they missed it by about an inch. A great break
Opens
for
the
Doug
door
Kent.
for Kent now up in the 5th.
Has the speed.
Boy, he's comfortable with that line. That's his A game. He would much rather be in throwing slow and hooking, although he can also throw hard and straight, but most comfortable throwing with the hook. Will the 7 fall? No.
Thank you. Unbelievable.
Ball coming in light, head pin to the sideboard. The 10-pin falls out, and the 7-pin gets nudged, but doesn't fall.
Hard surface ball picks up 7-pin. Couple of first-place finishes on the fall tour. Brunswick, Johnny Petraglia Open for Walter. Also, Track Canandaigua Open in New York. And Doug Kent.
Well, he's got a 25-pin lead over Williams. 33 pins over McCune.
Boy, things can change quickly. Up in the 6th frame.
Hasn't struck on this lane. Now the messenger takes out the 10-pin, but the 7-pin stands. The people off to the left, they did not, they can't see that 7-pin. They thought this was a strike. Watch the head pin go to the sideboard. It'll do the damage on the 10-pin, but the 7-pin doesn't even wiggle.
Kent looking very comfortable so far.
To increase his lead.
Boy, pretty roll on that one, Marshall. So he starts off with a 3-bagger, a spare, now a double.
Hurt those pins. He's trying to hurt the pins.
Oh, he throws it hard. McCune with the spare now. Walter Ray said certainly very difficult to win in this format, especially from this position. He said in the top 5 at 1 in 16 chance, and I think I figured out 1 in 54 chances. From that position. Or did he figure it out?
Well, he struck there. Actually, no, that was Walter that figured out that. He's the statistical king.
We'll be back in a minute. Welcome back to Indianapolis. Well, Wednesday night, National Hockey Night on the ESPN networks at 8 p.m. exclusively on ESPN. Rematch, Marshall, last year's Eastern Conference Finals, as the Devils, Stanley Cup champion, led by goaltender Martin Brodeur, host the Flyers. That should be a great one. Then at 10:30 on the Deuce, Jaromir Jagr. Boy, he's exciting. The Penguins take on the San Jose Sharks. So exciting hockey.
The Devils, that's a national telecast.
All right. And that's where the goal, they wear masks, and that's around Halloween time. And in fact, the Pins ought to be wearing masks watching Eugene throw the ball down here. Boy, he throws it hard.
Little bit slower. He keeps on letting up on the speed, it looks like.
Well, he has command on lane 71, but he's having all sorts of problems on 72, and he must correct that as Doug Kent takes a re-rack. You know,
So Kent with the re-rack as we take a look at the World Power Rankings.
yeah, Walter Ray Williams Jr. took over the lead in that just a few weeks ago, but Norm Duke, our number 2 seed, looking to jump ahead of him this week. I've watched Kent in practice. He was taking his spare ball and throwing down about the 14-15 board, building some hold for him during the telecast. So,
Good idea.
yeah, a little strategy in practice. A must strike.
Walter has it. Walter, a little bit different approach the last few weeks, Marshall. He comes over to the television pair just about 15 minutes before the practice.
Watch the commitment Walter Ray makes at the finish. Really comes through the ball with a lot of arm motion. Lodges it in the 1-3 pocket, and there's a double. Will he strike on the right lane? Yes. He throws his arms up in the air as to say, finally.
McCune with a double. And Marshall, you have an hour before the telecast to practice as Kent takes another re-rack, his last. How are you with practicing?
I always like to practice a lot during the practice 1 hour prior to the telecast. Now Walter, he doesn't practice hardly at all.
10 or 15 minutes before.
Well, in my eyes, that looks like it's set right. You know, the right-handers look at the 1 and the 3 pin, and probably was either a little bit too close together, or a little bit too far apart. As you can see, his maximum score of 279. That's got a, oh my gosh, that was so close to going into the channel. And 9 pins for Doug Kent is a big bonus, and he knows it.
Boy, that went almost.
And what a terrible break that would have been.
Now Walter with the double.
If that would have gone on the channel, it would have been just deadly. Walter, 3 in a row. Take a look. See how, look, it's on the 1 board. It hooks back. The bucket's standing there. It crumbles down to just a 2 pin and an easy spare. And a sigh of relief from Doug Kent.
With Walter now with a 3-bagger, he's cut into that lead. And McCune with a double. Kent still out in front.
Kent can shoot 258 possible. Walter with a 244. Best he can do. And McCune can shoot the 220s. And a solid 10. And that'll just about do it for his chances. So solid week for McCune.
Last 4 or 5 shots right there for McCune, but that 10 pin. Standing right now, Doug Kent in the driver's seat here in the opening match from Indianapolis.
Important shot. Powers the pins over. Still keeps the pressure on Williams. I'll tell you, I used to bowl years ago with McCune's father. As there's a look at Chris. That's McCune's lovely wife.
She's a pretty good bowler. She fired a 300 at this bowling center, the only one in state tournament action for the women not too long ago. Walter Ray looking for 4 in a row. Tracks the 4.
Still has a chance. There is some life. Walter Ray can strike out for 244. Kent can shut him out. And some good fortune for the man who was having problems carrying earlier in the week. Trips the 4 and the 7 out. And he likes it. Still a chance for Williams with the maximum 244 game. Kent right now working at a 238 pace. And McCune, well, he's just sort of finishing out the game.
Eugene's father, great bowler, Don McCune. He won 8 titles as he leaves the 7-10, the pocket 7-10.
Nothing going right for McCune, but at that point of the game,
boy, scary night on Halloween night for Eugene McCune. Doug Kent now up in the 10th frame.
Well, strike here, and good count. He'll advance. There's the strike. Well, a 9 count and a spare would give him 247. A 7 count and a spare would be enough. Watch the 6-pin do the damage on the 10, and he loved it.
Yeah, he's not real demonstrative, but he's shown a little excitement here in the very first match.
And important not to be careful with this shot, because the way he's hooking the ball, he can go right through the nose, leave all sorts of trouble. Must make an aggressive shot. Shoot for the strike. That'll be plenty. That'll be plenty. Kent will advance.
So Walter Ray won this event in 1994 and again in 1998. Will finish his game.
And now it's easy to fall now, Walter.
So Doug Kent is the winner of the opening match here in Indianapolis. He will next go up against Randy Pedersen and Brian Voss. Well, Doug Kent, 6 strikes in the first 7 frames of match 1 here in Indianapolis at Woodland Bowl on this Halloween night. And he moves on now with a 247 victory in match 1. Now, let me send it down to my partner, Marshall Holman, who is with the tournament leader. Marshall?
Well, thank you very much, Phil. I am with Jeff Zaffino, the #1 seed, and you may have a chance to go up against Doug Kent again. He won the first match. You bowled against him at Taylor in 1996. Do you think that experience is going to help you tonight?
What happened the last time was we had to move from a different center to the arena, and had to go from wood to synthetic approaches. And right now, we're staying on the wood, and I feel pretty good about it. I really do, no matter how good Doug is bowling right now.
Well, you look confident, and you haven't had a great year. You just made some changes in your game.
Yeah, I went back to my 4-step approach that I had used 2 years ago, and I changed the pitch of my thumb, and I dropped the 15 pounds on my bowling ball. And in fact, it saved my wrist the whole week. It didn't hurt at all. So I'm looking forward to just doing the same thing I did all week.
All right, well, going for his first title, sounds pretty confident to me. It'll be a tough task, but he can do it. All right, Phil, now back to you.
Thanks a lot, Marshall. And should he win his first title, well, he will bowl next week. That's right, in the prestigious Brunswick World Tournament of Champions in suburban Chicago. And then the following week, it is the Columbia 300 Open as the PBA returns to Highland Lanes in Austin. Rating PBA Player of the Year Parker Bone, third defense his title in that tournament. And that is, mark it down, it is a Wednesday night telecast. So next week, of course, the TFC, and then a few more events here to go on the fall tour. And PBA Player of the Year still very much up for grabs, with 4 or 5 players still realistically in the hunt to win Player of the Year. And we are ready now for match 2. And Doug Kent, did he surprise you coming through that first match, Marshall?
Well, it surprised me that he played that inside line. The players have been predominantly playing out. Now, he was starting the ball in and sending it to out, but yeah, it did kind of surprise me. As see Randy Pedersen, he's smiling already. Hasn't thrown his first ball yet.
Pedersen, the defending champion here in Indianapolis. First shot, second match.
Here! Yeah! Put the kids to bed. It's freak show, baby.
Come on, Randy, get into it.
Better save some energy. Brian Voss said he worked very hard. He has bowled not very well the past few weeks. Worked very hard to go hard and straight. And a little bit straighter, certainly, than Randy and some of the other players in tonight's telecast. He gets a strike. Doug Kent. Get a strike here in the first. All 3 players with strikes.
Well, all 3 players striking. I tell you, we've got a lot of experience in this second round match, both with Pedersen and with Voss. Voss is the one that has won the most titles, the most money, but Pedersen is great on television. Well, that ball got away from him. Leaves the 1, 2, the 6, and the 10.
He just threw the bad shot, do you believe, off his hand, Marshall?
Yeah, just look, he didn't get enough roll on the ball to get it back to the pocket.
Smooth stroking Brian Voss, just the 10-pin.
Solid 10. 2 ways to make this. You can either go left of the head pin and knock it into the 6 and the 10, or you can go right between the 1 and the 6. That's what it looks like Randy was trying to do. It didn't come off his hand right. Take a look at the long release, high backswing, and really extends the ball down the lane. Not the place he wanted to go. Voss makes his spare.
So Kent can take the early lead here in match 2, as he did in match 1 with a double. Kent looking for his 4th national title. He also has 3 regional titles. And that's a double for Doug Kent.
Boy, and there's that practice I was telling you earlier when he threw the spare ball in the middle of the lane to send the oil further down the lane, build a little bit of hold. What I mean by hold is that so the ball doesn't hook a lot in the middle. That ball was left in his pocket, but it struck.
Hanging off so far.
Oh, and Randy all over the place right now.
Yeah,
boy,
a little freak show.
Ball way outside to the 1 board, comes back, touches the head pin, but the 2 and the 10 will remain. Ball solid in the pocket. All 3 shots. Strike, spare, strike. And an open for Pedersen, and game goes by so quickly.
Yeah, you had mentioned that several times in the telecast. Before you know it, the game is over. I mean, he's got to make an adjustment or two on the lanes. It looks like he's going for some new equipment. Randy Pedersen, as Doug Kent steps up, and you know, with this one, that's 3 in a row.
He got away out, but it's coming back.
Soft 10 for Kent. Pedersen using a different ball. If he wants to play that big hook, he needs something that'll start earlier. Ball was going too long the last 2 frames.
And he found it.
Actually, he moved further outside.
Try to hook it.
A little more direct, not trying to hook quite as much. You just have so much time to make up your mind as to what you're going to do.
Now,
Boy,
Voss.
if your first guess isn't the right one, well, you're just in trouble. And as good as these players are, it is an educated guess. They're trying to set themselves up with the right kind of ball, the right roll to take advantage of the lane condition.
Voss up in the 4th, trying to make it a double.
He's just, that's textbook, Marshall.
Well, he's got a great style. Could bowl forever throwing the ball like that. Ball over about the 8 board, going out to 7, 6 maybe. And a powerful reaction. I'm very pleased, Brian Voss.
And now in the 4th after a double and a spare.
They're now trailing by 1 pin.
He's right there. Boy, Doug Kent, some beautiful shots here on Halloween night. Through the first match and a half. Kent double, spare, strike.
And Randy Pedersen really got sucked in by what the way that Doug Kent was playing the lanes. He was not going to play that inside hook shot, but he watched Doug. Said, boy, if it looks good for him, I got to give this a shot, and then got in trouble early. 4-pin will not fall.
Voss now trying to make it 3 in a row. 20 national titles and 8 regional championships for Voss. He got that one out. It's coming back, and another one.
And he wasn't sure the 10-pin was going to fall. That was the only concern with Voss on that last shot.
Pedersen with the spare in the 5th. Struggling here.
And you had mentioned all the players pretty much playing outside. Ken comes out, goes inside a little bit, and makes it work, and plays on the players' minds a little bit. One's coming up.
You can't help but watch.
Oh, another beautiful shot off the hand of Doug Kent. So right now, midway through the 2nd match, Brian Voss with 3 in a row leads by 1 pin over Doug Kent.
Dandy. Randy Pedersen, who has really struggled here, Marshall, now up in the 6th.
Down by 46 pins right now.
Go.
Let's take a look at what Randy has in the bag, and it's the Brunswick Monster. And he changed balls. He went with a dull one to hook the lane. The spare ball is the XO low.
And Pedersen right there with that monster.
I'm sure it's sad. I didn't try that when we first started. Should I take a mulligan now, or?
He'd like to take a mulligan, but
Wrong equipment to start?
yeah, he made an educated guess, and it was the wrong one. That's got to hurry. Oh, solid 10, 6 around the bottom of the 10-pin.
Well, Voss has bowled so well the past few weeks, and today he fired that 289 to make it to the 5th spot.
The familiar look of the ringing solid 10.
289 in that final game of match play.
He thinks he's got it right now, and it's heartbreak. I mean, I threw that as good as I could. It's got to strike. Hard and straight with the spare ball. Should be no problem.
Yeah, Doug Kent and Brian Voss going at it here in match 2.
You know, they're tied right now, but Kent, working on a double, can take a 10-pin lead with a strike in the 6th frame.
I believe it's a 10-pin.
A little different kind of 10-pin, but it's a soft 10.
Randy up quickly.
Pedersen in a trap right now, and it's not going to advance him to the next match. It's going to be between Kent and Voss as they trade 10 pins in the 6th frame. A solid one for Voss, a flat one for Kent.
Pedersen picks up the spare. Made a television show earlier this year in Tucson. He finished 7th as Voss broke his wrist last year, fell off a bike. He was riding with his kids. He fell off the bike, broke his wrist, and really was out much of the year. Back now, 100%, and bowling very well.
Just finishing that much high in the pocket, leaving the 4 and the 9. We saw it in the last match. Ball a little bit high, as I said, driving through the pocket, and oh no.
Kent can take advantage.
And almost a solid 7-10 in the pocket split for Kent. He wanted to say hi to his son Jacob, who's hopefully having a happy Halloween. Talk about a close call. Watch the 7-pin. Just gets nudged out. Can Voss make this? Yeah, he got too much of the 4-pin.
Let's open the door again for Doug Kent.
Kent with a spare would have an 11-pin advantage. And really, the part of his game that has improved more, or most, excuse me, in the last 6 or 7 years has been the spare shooting. He wasn't a good spare shooter, but he is now, and as you can see, an 11-pin edge for Doug Kent over Brian Voss. And Pedersen, he's just finishing out the game. He really finds himself with very little chance.
8th frame. Pedersen trips out the 4 on that one, and all right.
Is he a ham?
Randy, the defending champion here in Indianapolis. Brian now needs to pick it up here in the 8th after an open.
Ball creeping up a little bit higher on lane 71, but fortunate. All the pins respond. Still very much in the match. Maximum score of 247 for Kent.
That's if he strikes out 8th, 9th, and 3 in the 10th.
He likes it.
Why not?
Now he loves it.
Halloween night, that is beautiful. Halloween.
I caught it. I caught it, Phil. I tried to ignore it, but I couldn't. 204 the max score for Pedersen, and for any chance, wow, needed that one.
Pocket fine that lane.
Voss with the re-rack. Pedersen will step up and try and knock down that 10-pin. So right now, Voss in the 9th frame, working on a strike. He trails by 11 to Kent, also on a strike.
Hold on. You just saw that. Halfway down the lane, the ball was going to come in just a touch high. You see a great camera angle at that release. Follow through straight toward the target. Picture perfect form from Voss, but not all the pins responded.
Kent got another one, so Doug Kent trying to make it 2 wins in a row and head into that semifinal match. Voss with the spare. Now all 3 players heading into the 10th.
Pedersen can shoot 184 and just trying to grab a little bit of respect right now to finishing out the game.
Oh. Yeah, I guess I picked the right lane to finish on. Got it for 170 or 80. That's all right.
You crack me up, Randy.
So Voss really needs to get a couple here in the 10th. There's one.
Voss can shoot 216. That would force Kent to mark in the 10th, and who knows what could happen.
from the get-go. A lot of folks at home saying, well, you know, switch balls. They can't understand why he didn't start striking later on, but it can be difficult out there with the lights. Voss with another one.
All right, Voss still very much alive. Pedersen, 173. Even though not a very good game on our telecast, something to build on going into next week's Tournament of Champions.
Voss with a 216 with a strike here.
Important to get them all. 215. Still forces Kent to mark.
Kent has really been solid throughout tonight, but now the first hitch, he steps back. A little more time. Needs a mark.
I think that graphic was wrong. I think he needs a mark. When he gets the mark, he was working at a 220 pace. Voss had shot 215. He needed to have the mark.
So Doug Kent now will move on to the semifinal match. Coming up, score more with Brunswick Tip with my partner, Marshall Holman. Oh, it's been scary for the rest of the field because Doug Kent has taken charge. He finished with a flurry in the second match. 5 strikes, 247. He moves on now to the semifinal match. Brian Voss with that 215. Randy Pedersen 173 here in the Indianapolis Open. Well, the PBA has a new website at www.pba.com. Now you can get all the latest news and results from the PBA National, also the senior regional tours. Read profiles on the tour's top players, all at pba.com. Now, our tip of the week.
Last week we found my access point. Now Ray Edwards is here to help me use that information to create different reactions from the same ball.
Yeah, Marshall, what we have here is we have 2 balls that are started out exactly the same, but because we've drilled them differently, they're going to give you very different reactions on the lane. In this ball here, you'll notice that this marking pin on the surface of the ball is very far away from your axis. What that shows us is that the core is at a 90-degree angle relative to your axis in that ball, and that's going to create a very stable axis. It's going to create very little flare. It's going to give you a real gentle reaction of the ball on the lane. In this second example, we've chosen a different drilling pattern that puts the core at a different angle relative to your axis. In this case, the core is at a 45-degree angle, which is a very unstable position, causing the track to flare as the ball goes down the lane. You'll see the axis tape go off the axis quickly, and you'll get much more reaction of the ball in the back end of the lane.
Well, now that I have this information, I can take it to my local ball driller, and we can set up particular bowling balls to get the reactions that I'm looking for.
It's Bob. And we're at Woodland Bowl, always a great event. Pros have been coming here since 1979. Some of the great names that have won here at Woodland Bowl: Mark Roth, your doubles partner, Wayne Webb, and George Pappas, Mike Albee, Pete Weber a couple of times, Jason Couch won it twice here, and of course Walter won it twice. Our defending champion Randy Pedersen just bowed out in the last match. Now it's Doug Kent. He survived 2 matches up against another couple of tough competitors.
Well, it's going to be tough. This man right here, Norm Duke, the leading candidate for Player of the Year, has a lot to say about it. But he's not dialed in early, and that's what's been hurting the other players. This ball just slides and slides and slides, never does catch a roll. Comes in light, leaves a 2-pin. Fortunate just to have the one standing there.
And Kent really has gotten off to a very nice start in the first 2 matches as he now steps back.
Something to the right, affecting Kent's concentration. Regroups himself.
Semifinal match, first shot for Doug Kent. And he's got a strike, and he really had a solid year with 12 cashes and 14 tournaments.
Another shot that looked as if it was going to be coming in high, but it stopped in the pocket. Norm Duke makes the spare, and now the first look at Chris Barnes. And he got his teeth fixed.
A commercial break.
During the commercial, he went and saw Dennis. It looks much better now.
Wichita looking for his first title of the year, although 10 TV appearances this year.
Leaves the 10 pin. Now he's gone to a ball that does not hook much at all. Very, very stable kind of a pin placement in that ball.
Kind of so he talked about in the tip.
Exactly. Very much like what I was talking about in the tip, to keep the ball going very straight so we can play that outside angle.
So, once again, Doug Kent off to the early lead here in the semifinal match. Duke loves it outside.
Now both Duke and Barnes opting for balls that don't hook very much so they can play further to the right, keep the ball in the dry part of the lane, take advantage of the angle into the pocket. Kent doing all the damage hooking it.
Kent has been at the pocket all day long.
Will it? Will it? You bet. There's the 7 responding at the very last minute for Kent. 10-pin lead. Watch these pins dance. It's the Halloween hop. Will the 7? Well, of course it goes. And how does he like it?
Oh, yeah.
He loved it.
Barnes with a strike.
Boy, when you talk about great players on the Professional Bowlers Tour, these names have got to come up. Duke and Barnes. Kent, not far behind, but still not quite in the classification of the other two.
Duke in search of his 20th PBA win.
Thought it was going to get there. Confusion for Norm Duke. It's the 2 and the 5.
For Duke, not at the panic stage yet?
No, but he's come in light both times on this left-hand lane. Right now, he thinks his ball's going to hook in there. He's running it out. It doesn't.
Well, Kent can make it a quick 3 in a row to start this match.
Watch that. The ball just stops in the pocket. He's got a little bit of a trick shot working on lane 72. And a good spare for Duke.
And again, when you talk about spare shooters, Norm Duke at the top of the list, along with Chris Barnes. And Barnes steps up now in the 3rd frame. Spare and a strike. He trails by 10 to Kent.
Trails by 20 with a chance to cut it to 10. Maybe you're a fortune teller. Maybe you know he's going to strike here, so that's why you said 10. I know how you work, Phil.
I envision the strike. And I thought I had ESP. 10. That's right. Just the 10 pin. So right now, Barnes and Duke, not that they're struggling, but Doug Kent has the first 3.
Well, Barnes hasn't missed the pocket, but he only has 1 strike out of 3 shots, and Duke is struggling. Hasn't hit the pocket on the left-hand lane. And really, you take a look at the players in the field, and it's Duke, and it's Barnes and Williams are the power. But Kent right now asserting his authority here on Halloween.
20-pin lead for Kent over Duke and Barnes. And Duke taking a little extra time trying to get set up here and figure it out in the 4th frame. And he does. So Norm Duke, he tossed one of the tournament's 5 300 games this week. 38 career 300 games for Storm and Norman, and he's right there.
You'll hear the crowd go. They're going Duke, Duke. That's not booing. They're duking it up.
On Halloween night, they could say boo, I guess. All right, here comes Kent, trying to make it 4 in a row.
In command. You can just see when he walks back, he's got a little bit of a strut going on, and he's got a good reason.
Barnes, he has his own official fan club called the Chris Barnes Fan Club. Can be found on the internet at bowlingfans.com/Barnes. 221 average.
Catchy name. That's a little bit left, I thought. That's that tame release ball.
Well, he can play so many shots. Same with Norm Duke and most of the players out here, but
well, the best players today have got to be versatile. When I was bowling on tour full time, I had a few different shots, but you didn't need to be quite as tricky back then. You can see the earnings. Oh, and a 7-10. He made the big adjustment, moved left on the approach, went to hook the ball. Bad break. He made a huge adjustment, playing the big hook, watched the ball, hits the pocket, 5-pin will go in front of the 7. 10-pin stands, and one of the bad breaks
Doug Kent has
in all
struck
bowling.
21 out of 28 frames so far in the 3 games. And can he make it?
Another one, yes, that is 5 in a row. You talked about some tricks, of course, Halloween night, and it looks like he may get the treat at the end here. We'll have to wait and see.
As an open frame for Norm Duke, but boy, Doug Kent, command, you had mentioned.
Well, he is, and right now Barnes desperately needing to figure out a way to get all the 10 pins to fall down on lane 71. Been in the pocket every frame, but spare strikes, not getting it done. Kent's got the first 5. Will it hit? And the adjustment from the flat 10 to the solid 4.
Flat 10, you move a half forward, and it's a 4-pin.
That's what I just said.
Wrong part of the lane, are you?
So Barnes,
Ball comes in high, trips out the 9-pin, and you heard Barnes saying playing the wrong part of the lane, and he very well may be. Other players have tried to play where Kent's playing. They haven't had the same kind of success.
So right now it is Doug Kent. 5 strikes to start the semifinal match. He's in command right now.
oh, it is Halloween night. It's the Tour Championship. Well, why not? Tiger Woods among the 30 of the top money winners competing for $5 million in prize money. It is the Tour Championship live from Eastlake Golf Club in Atlanta. 2 rounds. ESPN this Thursday and Friday at 10 a.m. Saturday's 3rd round on the Deuce. Saturday, the final round back on ESPN Sunday afternoon. For more, log on to ESPN.com. And as we take a look at the score right now, Marshall, and it looks like Doug Kent has come out of the phone booth here on Halloween night. 5 in a row. Clark Kent is doing a number. Beautiful folks that Kent has disposed of.
Duke finally got one.
And Duke back to the straight shot on lane 72. Now, it's either he's hit the strikes on every frame, but he hasn't been as perfect on lane 71 as he has on lane 72. So there's hope for the other 2 guys. It may come on this left-hand lane. Then again, maybe not. Shakes him up.
Doug Kent with the first 6. We had mentioned before the telecast, Marshall, how difficult it is now with the 8-man format to really run the tape.
Well, the odds are stacked against you. There's so many more people you have to try and get through. But right now, Kent's certainly looking like the favorite to make it to the final match. But we've got a little business left to do here in the semifinal.
Barnes, spare strike, spare.
No kidding.
Well, Randy Pedersen a little frustrated last match.
Now Barnes frustrated, and Barnes moved in to try and throw the ball a little more the line that Kent's playing. See what Duke does.
All right.
Hooking the ball in the left-hand lane and strikes that time.
For Chris Barnes, have you had days like, I'm sure you have over your career.
That's why I'm up here talking with you right now, Phil. Days like that. Many of them. It's frustrating, and it's just so fickle to be able to pick the right line, get the right ball in your hand at the right speed. There's so many different adjustments that all the players have to make.
It's interesting, too. I mean, Doug, not that he's made the lanes look easy and the other players have struggled, but here he is with the first 6 in the semifinal match. And really has thrown just about every ball in the pot.
Well, he has, and right now, he knows he's got this match. This is the time of the game. If you get the first 7, You start thinking about 300. Great reach for Kent. And great action with the ball.
Well, Marshall, maybe just one question left here, and it really involves Doug Kent.
That's right. Can Doug throw 5 more strikes for the 300 game? There they are. I'll tell you, when your name's on top of 7 strikes in a row, makes you breathe real easy.
Duke now trying to make it 3 in a row up in the 8th frame.
Kent still fully concentrating.
And
Will it? And it's a 10-pin for Duke. Watch the head pin. Go to the sideboard. It tried to help out that 10-pin. It's coming out. It's coming. It's going to just flop itself right into the back of the deck.
Kent up in the 8th. Yes, Duke. Saying the lane's just a bit spooky. So for Kent.
Can he make it 8? Oh, yeah, he's got the first 8.
And he's saving emotion right now. He's not getting overly excited. He knows he's got business to do in the 9th and 10th. And I tell you, if I'm Jeff Zaffino, I want that man, Doug Kent, to shoot 300 because I think that's his best chance of winning the tournament. Kent shoots 300. Will he have anything left in the tank for the final match?
Doug Kent, first 8, extra $10,000 should he toss a perfect game. Barnes up in the 8th and a 9-pin.
Let's get them all out of the way, okay? I'll get nothing and I'll like it.
Yeah, you'll get a good finish, but it won't be the #1 finish that you were looking for, or for this man. Boy, you know, for trick or treat, and there's a trick.
Picks up the spare. Boy, you think of the players Kent has knocked off. Walter Ray Williams Jr. and Randy Pedersen, Norm Duke, now Chris Barnes.
Brian Voss.
Brian Voss.
Yeah, he's gone through quite a difficult cast. You know, Duke's always been a great spare shooter, and he picks up the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's a great spare.
That's a difficult spare, isn't it?
It is. I've missed it.
Kent up now in the 9th. Just tuning in, he has the first 8. Looks like he did in the first frame of the first match, Marshall.
Will it carry? Yes, it does. 9 in a row, and everybody rooting for him. Look at that. Hey, you've got to love the sportsmanship. Barnes is rooting for Kent, as well as Norm Duke.
I don't know if it's...
Don't stop on my account.
The label is Superman as of yet. He still has a game to go. Barnes. Will it? All right.
Something to smile about.
Norm Duke now in the 10th frame, but it's all Doug Kent. Just the 10-pin. Just trying to get out of Kent's way.
He's just getting out of the way. That's exactly right. I have been in this position twice.
Is the first shot on the 10th?
It was always the toughest one for me. Because I didn't strike either time. I left 4-pin both times. I was afraid I wouldn't hit the head pin. I pinched it off. Let's see if Kent can do it. Gotta hurry. He's gotta hurry. And the flat 10. There'll be no 300 game this time for Doug Kent. But he's the winner.
Doug Kent again. 3 wins in a row.
The ball goes well to the right. Now it makes its move, but the 6-pin just doesn't quite have enough power on it to jump out and get the 10. And disappointment with a smile.
Well, for Kent, it wasn't his best shot, but he's carried that 10 pin a few times tonight. And
well, you know,
I want everybody quiet. I got a chance to shoot 200.
Yes, sir, Mr. Barnes. Barnes going for the 200.
Oh,
No, no, you can't.
no! Stoney.
You win.
Barnes has had a terrific year, despite not winning here in the year 2000, but it is Doug Kent's night so far. Doug Kent will take on our tournament leader, Jeff Zaffino, looking for his first win when we come back. Well, Doug Kent knocked the eyes out of the pins. He has done something very special tonight. He's won the first 3 matches, 247, 247, and then a 279, oh so close to a perfect game.
Oh, great bowling and exciting. Does he have one more in him? Take a look at some of the other finishers. Parker Bone III, he finishes in 9th place, or excuse me, in 10th, and still has a chance with a win next week. Maybe he can get the Player of the Year honors. Steve Hoskins from Tarpon Springs, 14th position, and good qualifying and tough time in the match play. Mika Koivuniemi, he won the Masters earlier this week, and I just wanted to say his name because that's a cool name. He's from Finland. And Brian LeClaire in 22nd place. Also another great qualifier, but boy, trouble in the match play.
Yeah, certainly a great week here at Woodland Bowl. The championship match between Doug Kent, 3 wins under his belt tonight, and Jeff Zaffino was looking for his very first tournament. These two met before.
1996 in Detroit. Zaffino led the tournament, finished 2nd to Kent. Opening shot. And he strikes and shows little enthusiasm, but boy, you know, I have got to make Kent the prohibited favorite in this match.
So Zaffino will win his first title.
If things go true to form and everything goes the opposite way of what I say, then probably, but you got to like Kent's opportunity here. So solid.
He struck 27 out of 36 frames so far tonight. First frame. And he has a strike.
28-37 for Kent. And I really think leaving that 10 pin in the 10th frame was the best thing that could happen to Kent as far as his opportunity of winning. Because when you shoot 300 on television, you expend so much energy, sometimes you just don't have anything left. Right now, he looks very fresh.
Yeah, Kent has ripped through this outstanding field. High game this week, 299. Low, just 186.
Wants to get off to a fast start, and he does. That's his answer to Zaffino's, do you still have anything left? Swings the ball wide, brings it back, flush in the pocket, just perfect. And he knows it. He loves it. Answer that.
Zaffino with the strike to start.
He pulled it. Definitely left off his hand. Possibly a nervous shot.
Big week for Zaffino. A win, and he qualifies for next week's Tournament of Champions, the Brunswick World Tournament of Champions. As Zaffino now goes for the spare. He picks it up.
I think this guy's rooting for Doug Kent. He's on the bubble. He wants to bowl next week. If Zaffino wins, he's out. Rick Lawrence. Seems pretty calm. There's really nothing he can do.
Kent has bowled so well tonight. Zaffino has bowled well all week as he grabbed the top spot.
Did not project the ball down the lane. Ball hooks early, goes through the nose, leaves a 6-10 again, and back-to-back shots through the high on the head pin, right through the nose. First top 24 appearance this year, so it has not been a very good year, but certainly a great week.
pick up the spares early to stay in the match, and he does. So he starts off with a strike and a couple of spares, but Doug Kent off to a double.
Now take a look at Zaffino. Watch the way he slides as he releases the ball. Most people plant and throw. I was a slider like that.
You won a few titles, though. 22. You're a Hall of Famer.
Well, thank you. But give him a chance.
That's 3 in a row for Doug Kent.
Kent doesn't want to give him a chance.
He has done this
All 4 matches where he's really gotten off to a fast start, 2 or 3 in a row.
He's at 247, 247, 279. If I could do some quick math, that's a very high average and a great profile look of Kent. So solid at the line.
I'm sure Kent wouldn't mind spending some of that energy by shooting a 300, firing a 300 here.
Yeah,
Championship match. Time to do it.
That's probably exactly what he's thinking right now.
Yeah. After the 3rd frame.
He wants 4 in a row. Just this one. Will it get back? Oh, he is so dialed in. It's almost unfair.
That 8-pin almost stood up, Marsh.
He is in a groove. Look at this ball as it rolls up. You couldn't place it in the pocket any better, and he just loves that. He knows it. It's one thing to carry a fortunate strike, but when you can continually pound the pocket flush like that, boy, it just really elevates your confidence. Not unusual. Hit the nose, make a good shot, doesn't carry.
Picks up the spare.
Now, if there's one thing Zaffino has shown me is that when he does get an opportunity, he takes it right to the lead. Now he's going to have to figure out one of two things. Either how do I bowl more strikes in the title match, or how do I sabotage my opposition so they don't start out with the front 4?
Good frame in, gets a strike. And maybe that'll get him going a little bit.
Well, you know, he's still just 33 pins down after his 5th frame. Excuse me, we'll make that 43.
Kent up by that margin, and his last win last year in the Brunswick Johnny Petraglia Open. Looking for 5. Marshall, he's not even perspiring. I mean, he is just throwing one strike after another.
That's been a walk in the park, and I'll tell you, people ask me, say, Marshall, do you miss the competition, miss not bowling? I miss doing what Doug Kent's doing right now. I mean, what he's doing, believe me, it is a lot of fun, a lot of satisfaction when you just have command of your own world.
Looking to start this title match for 6.
Solid 10. Shakes his head. Ball was inside of his target. Didn't get to the break point, so it didn't make the right. Left hand turned into the pocket. But at this point, let's take a look once again. Ball a little bit left of his target. Doesn't get as far to the right. 6-pin around the bottom of the 10. Still a great shot, but it'll be no better than a 10. And Doug Kent, he makes the spare. Right now, working at a 239 pace. Zaffino, 197. It's all Kent.
And we're back. Doug Kent up in the 7th frame. Another beautiful shot. So he had a strike while we're away. Jeff Zaffino left a 3-pin in the 6th frame and picked up the spare, and then a strike in the 7th. Still?
Well, Zaffino can shoot 237. Kent right now, if he were to spare strike out, he'd shoot 239. So still very much mathematically possible. Kent has been so dominant, you just don't expect him to make any mistakes.
putting on a clinic. Doug Kent. 247, 247, 279, and can shoot another 279. Zaffino up in the 8th. Working on a strike and really needs to go off the sheet.
Still a chance.
So a strike, a double now for Zaffino. Live from the Hard Rock Hotel in Las Vegas, a star-studded night of baseball. Awards voted on by the players celebrate the outstanding rookie, measure, comeback player, each league's player of the year. Comedian Robert Wool is the host. R&B artist Brian McKnight will perform. And the Players' Choice Awards Friday nights, 9 o'clock. And the choice, just one tonight, and that is Doug Kent. Zaffino trails by 42. Oh, nice shot. So 3 in a row.
Zaffino can still shoot 237, as I said, and Kent needs to continue to mark. If he spares in the 9th frame and spares in the 10th frame, he'll be in the 240s, and this tournament will be his, and it will be Kent 2, Zaffino none in their head-to-head battles for titles.
Kent's 4th TV appearance this year. He's had a solid 2,000 with 12 cashes out of 14 events. Max score of 279 should he strike out.
Oh, yeah, that locks it. Now just has to stay behind the line. Jim Doty applauding the general manager of the Royal Pin Bowling chain. He appreciates greatness, and Doug Kent really providing it this evening. We've seen this before. He has found a way to get that ball lodged in the pocket, and he knows that one should do it.
Well, you just talk about being able to repeat shots, and he's done that tonight. Jim Doty, good look, and boy, he's done a terrific job over the years of coming here since 1979 at Woodland Bowl. And just the 10th pin.
And that's more than enough as Doug Kent goes all the way through the field. Unbelievable. What a display. He's your winner.
Picks up the spare and can shoot 258 with a strike.
Doug Kent, I'll tell you, he really just totally dominated throughout every match.
Big sigh. It's just been
And his first mistake of the night. Oh, boy. What a performance from Doug Kent.
Again with a 253, and Zaffino.
And Zaffino, he's on track now, but 237 the best he can do, and a 253 for Kent. He gets congratulations from a number of players.
Boy, it's Zaffino and Kent. It's just been Kent, you had mentioned.
I think next time Zaffino leads the tournament, he better hope Doug Kent is nowhere to be found.
And Rick Lawrence, who was on the bubble. I didn't see him shaking Kent's hand down there, but I'm sure
he was pleased.
Zaffino with another one. What a terrific night for Jeff Zaffino out of Warren, Pennsylvania, outside of Erie.
Well, it was a good week, but a great week for Kent.
Zaffino had talked about after this week that was it, but then talking to him prior to the championship match tonight, he said, I think I'll bowl a few more tournaments, and he bowled awfully well. Just the 10-pin, 236. Zaffino, Doug Kent picks up his 4th national title. He ran the table tonight on Halloween night in Indianapolis. Kent, your winner. And boy, a strike fest tonight here on Halloween night. Doug Kent rolls on a big 253 to win. Doug, quite a performance.
Yeah, I got feeling real comfortable real early in practice, and luckily I got the corners out. You know, a lot of guys struggle with the corners all week, and tonight I guess was my night.
Ken Howard, let's bring in Ken Howard first of all with the trophy. And Ken, a beautiful looking trophy. Ken is the general manager here at Woodland Bowl. Why don't you hand it over?
Doug, I'd like to present to you the championship trophy for the 2000 Indianapolis Open.
Thank you very much. I would like to take a second here to to thank everyone at Woodland Bowl. We've been coming here a lot of years, and a lot of the players really look forward to coming back here every year. They put on a great show, and we appreciate it very much.
All right, J.B. West, he is the president of the Indianapolis Bowling Centers Association. You have a nice check for him, don't you?
Yeah, I'd like to present this check on behalf of the Central Indiana Bowling Centers Association for $19,000. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Again, we really appreciate coming back here every year to Woodland Bowl. They truly are the best fans in the industry. We appreciate it.
Doug, I tell you what, you bowled great, and you came close in the semifinal match to some added money, a chance shot at a 300.
Well, I tell you what, I have a lot of respect for the guys that have shot 300 on TV because I could barely keep my knees from touching. But, you know, experience, and I threw a good. That's all that really matters.
Well, congratulations, Doug, all right?
Thank you very much.
Doug Kent, let's hear it for your champion here in Indianapolis. Doug Kent, the winner. Be sure to join us next week when we travel to Lake Zurich, Illinois for one of the PBA's richest championship, the Brunswick World Tournament of Champions, live at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN. Coming up next, Shell's Wonderful World of Golf. Gary Player battles the great Jack Nicklaus from the Sunningdale Golf Club in Berkshire, England. For my partner, Marshall Holman, I'm Phil Ferguson. We'll see you next week. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com.